Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. It'd be super cheeky of you. And let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, on our very own subreddit, r/Mark Narrations, Speedy B52H comes in and they was watching an older video from last year and it popped up on their feed. And they checked out the story and they found that there was a whole bunch of new updates to it as well. So thank you very much, Speedy, for letting us know. And this one comes from a throwaway account. And it says, am I the asshole for wanting to uninvite my sister-in-law from my wedding because she keeps undermining my wedding planning? And if you want to skip certain parts of the story, as always, timestamps are down in the description along the timeline below. Thank you. It says, sorry, even after removing some stuff, this turned out to be really long. Throwaway, so hopefully Kayla doesn't find this. My fiance Nate, 27 male, and I, 26 female, have been together for almost 3 years. He proposed to me about 6 months ago, and shortly after we found out I was pregnant. We are planning on having our wedding in the spring of next year. Nate has a twin sister, 27 female, who we will call Kayla. Nate and I announced our engagement and my pregnancy at the same time. We made a cute little Facebook post with a couple of engagement pics and an ultrasound photo that said something along the lines of, the Smith family is going to have 2 new additions. Kayla commented almost immediately that we'll have to wait until next year to actually get married because she looks best in fall colors. And as my maid of honor, she'll get a say in choosing bridesmaids dresses. I literally stared at my phone screen wondering if I had read something wrong. I showed the comment to Nate and asked him why she thought she'd be my maid of honor. He had no clue. So I texted her and this is how that exchange went. I said, hey Kayla, I see you saw our announcement on Facebook. Thank you for being ready to step up for me, but we haven't started working out wedding logistics yet, and I haven't picked my bridesmaids, much less my maid of honor. Once we have more details of the wedding worked out, we will let you know. Kayla replied, well, you don't have to choose a maid of honor anymore. I'm your maid of honor. OP said, I don't understand. I never asked you to be. Kayla responded, you don't have to ask. That's what makes me such a good sister. I said, I'm sorry, you are not my maid of honor. Kayla said, we'll see about that. Bloody hell. I showed these messages to Nate, who said he would deal with it. I have no idea what the extent of their conversation was, but Kayla never brought up being my maid of honor again. She just reared her ugly attitude in different ways. As of now, Nate and I have booked the venues, caterer, the florals, decorations, and the DJ already. A couple of months ago, I invited mine and Nate's mothers, along with my sister Sam, who I asked to be my maid of honor, to do some dress shopping. Kayla found out from her mum and invited herself to tag along. We started by looking for a dress for Sam. One of my bridesmaids in a pretty pastel yellow, but Sam's is going to be more golden. Kayla would not shut up about how yellow is such an ugly color and I should go with pink or blue instead. She even grabbed a bunch of pink and blue dresses to try on herself. I tried my best to ignore her while her mother entertained her bizarre ideas. Sam and my mother were making constant comments about how it's my wedding and if Kayla isn't going to be helpful, she should just leave. Unfortunately, she didn't. I'm too nice to kick her out in front of my mother-in-law, who I already have a strained relationship with. Our mothers were able to shop for their dresses with little interference from Kayla, but as soon as I started trying things on, she had all sorts of things to say. She would tell me that certain styles wouldn't look good once I had a baby bod, and even told me I should consider not wearing white since I'm obviously not a virgin. I told her she wasn't a virgin when she got married either, yet she still wore an adorable white sundress to the courthouse. She grumbled about how that wasn't the same, but I was already halfway back to the changing room. I still don't know what happened while I was in there, but when I came out, Kayla and mother-in-law were gone, and Sam had a smug smile on her face. I never discussed any details of the wedding with Kayla if I could help it, but I've heard Nate sharing some of our plans with her. He told her we were planning on a buffet-style meal because we already have a lot of dietary restrictions in our families, and that was the cheapest way to accommodate everybody. Literally like a few $1,000 difference, and she told him he deserved someone who wouldn't go cheap on his wedding, even though the buffet was his idea. He told her about our venue choices. He picked the reception venue, I picked the ceremony venue, which is the same place my parents got married. My father passed away, and since he cannot walk me down the aisle, I always wanted to get married in the same place he married my mom to sort of feel like he was there with us. She told Nate that my venue choice was tacky and people would make fun of us. When he mentioned he wanted a DJ, she made a comment about how she knew I wasn't classy enough to want a live band. Each and every time she would make comments like this, Nate would tell her that they were his ideas, but not call her out for how she spoke about me, which I do feel a little hurt by. I've expressed this to him and he told me he would try to do better about calling her out, but she's just always been this way. I told him that's no excuse for her to be disrespectful and stick her nose into business that doesn't concern her. He hesitantly agreed. On Friday, I got an email from the venue for our ceremony confirming our cancellation and asking if we needed to reschedule. Shortly after that, I got a voicemail from our caterer explaining that my new wedding planner had just called, but the line had dropped and was wondering if I could pass along her phone number so they could finish going over the changes to the menu. I immediately emailed the venue back saying that no, we're not cancelling or rescheduling. Please keep our original date on the books. I called the caterer who explained that a woman had called and said she was my new wedding planner. She had said that I wanted to make some changes to the contract, namely switching from a buffet style to plated meals. I told him this was not the case. I do not have a wedding planner and please do not make any changes unless contacted by me or Nate directly with the contact information we have on file. The caterer suggested putting a password on file also. He said he wouldn't make any changes unless the person requesting them knew the password. I called both venues and all of our other vendors to put in place the same types of precautions. They all gave their sympathies for me having to deal with this. When Nate got home from work, I confronted him about it. I told him someone tried to cancel my venue and change our catering. I told him the only person it could be is Kayla. He tried to deny and say that she wouldn't do it, but I reminded him of how she's undermined and insulted me during every step of this engagement. I told him I wanted her uninvited. I won't give someone who has already done so much to make this wedding stressful the opportunity to do something like show up in white. He fought me on this, but I basically told him that I felt disrespected by him over how he is allowing Kayla to treat me. I'm his partner and the mother of his child. My feelings and comfort should be more important to him than his sister's childish antics. We met with her for lunch earlier today, and once we got dessert, he asked her if she was trying to make changes to our wedding plans. She said, and I quote, "Well, yeah, it's the maid of honor's job to make sure the bride is making the right decisions." Before Nate could even say anything, I told her she is not my maid of honor, and even if she was, that would not give her the authority to undermine our decisions and make changes to the wedding plans and budget behind our backs. She said she didn't see what the big deal was since her grandmother had offered us a pretty large chunk of change as a present to help pay for the wedding. I told her again, the wedding budget is none of her business. She tried to argue, but I just cut her off. I told her that her behavior regarding our wedding thus far had been nothing but disrespectful and insulting. I told her trying to cancel my venue had crossed a line and she was no longer invited to the wedding. She seemed absolutely shocked by this. She looked at Nate, waiting for him to defend her, and then he did. He looked at me and said, "Why don't we give her one more chance?" I asked if he was kidding, and he said no, that Kayla was only doing what she thought was best for us, and now that we've told her that it wasn't okay, we should give her a chance to correct her behavior. I didn't even respond. I just got up and left. I went and got in my car and drove home, thinking to myself if he wanted to side with his sister, then he could rely on her to get home. I ignored him trying to get a hold of me. Once at home, I packed a small bag and left for Sam's house. I told her everything, and she told me I could stay as long as I needed to, but now she's at work for the night, and that's where I am now, trying to process what just happened, trying to figure out when I became second place in Nate's life, trying to figure out if there's any way to fix what just broke in me. He keeps switching between asking where I am, telling me he didn't think this was that big of a deal, and apologizing and asking me to come home and talk. I don't feel ready to talk to him just yet. I'm still too upset and I feel like I'll do or say something I will regret, like call off the wedding altogether. I just told all my vendors that we aren't cancelling the wedding, but right now I kind of want to. I don't know if it's my hormones making me feel crazy or if I'm valid in how hurt I'm feeling. I just don't know what to do or what to think. So, am I the arsehole for not wanting to give her a second chance, or is my fiance right that she deserves a chance to prove herself before she's uninvited from the wedding altogether? So on the back of this, OP was obviously receiving lots of good advice about setting up a password on the vendors. Also, she has a fiance problem because he's not backing her up, so bigger issues there. And many people saying they wouldn't get married until something like this gets sorted out. But OP comes in with her first update and says, "First of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone who read my original post and offered their judgments and advice. Writing this out really helped me process what I was feeling, and hearing that I wasn't overreacting or just being hormonal from people that are removed from the situation was very comforting. I read every single comment, and there is no way to express how much all the kind words meant to me. There were lots and lots of comments asking for an update, but I wanted to wait until after I had a talk to Nate. I spent last night at Sam's house and mostly ignored Nate's texts and calls. Kayla texted me once also telling me to not let my hormones make me irrational. I just blocked her, but someone advised to unblock and just silence her notifications so if she escalates, I could maybe use it in court for my custody case. I did unblock her earlier today, and I'm glad I did, but we'll get there. I replied to Nate at one point last night telling him that I was safe and at Sam's house and that I'll be home tomorrow, today after work to talk about everything. I expressed again that I was feeling really hurt about not being heard or backed up by him and that I needed time to decide what I wanted to do. He asked what I meant by that, if I meant cancelling the wedding altogether. I told him that is exactly what I was considering. His reply, "Don't let your hormones make you do something irrational. We'll talk tomorrow." Bloody hell, I know we've covered this story before, but seeing that line, you just think, oh, bloody hell. Hope he continues. Anyone else want to take a guess as to where he got that line? That just about made my decision for me. I didn't reply, not even when he texted me, "Good night, I love you." Instead, before I went to bed for the night, I sent him a link to my post and told him to read through it before we talk. Someone said he probably sent it to Kayla too. If she did read it, she hasn't commented, and if she texted me about it, it was while I had her blocked. This morning I called into work and had breakfast with Sam. She gave me the number of a family lawyer that a friend used for his custody case. I spoke to the assistant and explained my situation, and luckily she had a slot open for lunch for an initial consult. So I took a shower and basically just kept reading through the comments on my post until it was time to talk to her. I told the lawyer exactly why I'm leaving Nate and how I am terrified over how his sister would influence him with our baby. I don't trust him to not be influenced by Kayla and to have our baby's best interest in mind, so I want to fight for sole custody and supervised visitation. I told her if possible, I want to include something that restricts Kayla from having any contact with my child. I'm already mentally preparing to fight Nate in court because I know he will not agree to any of this. My lawyer told me that while my concerns are valid, it may be difficult to convince a judge to put a contact restriction in the custody order based on family drama alone. She advised me to document everything Kayla has done and anything moving forward so we can present it to the judge if and when we end up in court. She gave me a list of things to think about, like if I want Nate to get any custody at all or just visitation. How I want to handle things like medical care or education for my child. If I want to put communication restrictions like only talking over text. Lots of things I would never have thought of and never thought I would have to think of. We were supposed to do all of this together. She told me to take a few days to gather my thoughts and decide on what I want. I scheduled an in-person meeting for this Friday to go over everything. Hopefully I'll have my mind straight by then, but if anyone has any advice when it comes to what to put on these custody papers, I'm all ears. After the phone call with my lawyer, I checked some more comments and then took a much-needed nap. When I woke up, I had a text from Nate asking what time I'll be off work so he could have dinner ready for me when I got home. I told him I'd be there around 5, but if Kayla is there, I'll be turning around and leaving without a word. I then asked him if he read the post I sent him. He said I did, but I'd rather talk to you than read you bash me and my sister on the internet with a bunch of strangers. Don't worry, I told Kayla she's not welcome. This pissed me off beyond belief. Clearly, he either didn't read the post or still doesn't realize how truly in the wrong they are here. Either way, I lost all motivation to try and talk to work things out. I'm just done. I text him, "Don't worry about dinner. All I'll be doing is gathering some more things and dropping off my lawyer's contact info. There is nothing more for us to discuss." He asked what I meant. What lawyer? And he's told me he'd been waiting to talk about this. All I said was, fine. Sam wished me luck before I left and assured me I was welcome back once we were done talking. I told her I absolutely would be back and thanked her for everything so far. Then I stopped and got one of those boba refreshers from Starbucks to calm my nerves before I went home. When I got home, Nate had dinner ready just like he said. I ignored him and just went straight to our room to pack up some more of my clothes and toiletries. He tried asking me if I really wasn't going to talk to him, but I just ignored him for the time being. Just seeing his face made my anger flare up and I wanted to be smart about our discussion. After a while, he gave up and just went to eat in the dining room. When I was finished, I went and sat with him at the table, but didn't touch any of the food. I started a voice memo on my phone before I said, "Go ahead." He looked at me all confused, so I told him he was the one that wanted to talk and must have so much to say. So, go ahead. He stumbled over his words for a while, but ultimately started off with an apology, trying to tell me he didn't realize I was so upset with Kayla's behavior. I asked him if he remembered how hard I cried after I got home from dress shopping because of her comments about my choices and my body. If he remembered having to talk to her about not being my maid of honor. if he remembered our conversation just a few days ago where I told him cancelling my venue that held so much sentiment to me was way too far over the line. He said he did each time and tried to add a "but" to argue, but I just cut him off with my next example. I told him that after all that, he 100% should have known I was beyond done with her bullshit. I told him I was so hurt and pissed that I wanted her uninvited, but he wanted to give her another chance. To what? Cancel our DJ and book a live band? Dye my dress red or show up in a white dress herself? He told me she would never do that. I told him he told me she would never cancel my venue, but then she admitted to it in front of our faces. I told him I don't trust his opinion on his sister, and that he is just as delusional as she is if he thinks she will change. I asked him why he even told us so many details of our wedding anyway. Why does her opinion for our wedding even matter? He tried to tell me that because Kayla didn't get to have a real wedding when she got married, she was just a little too excited about ours. I told him she has all the right in the world to be excited, but that does not give her any rights to insult or change our choices regarding what we want for our wedding. She'll have plenty of opportunities to have a real wedding. If she could stop for 2 seconds to take her nose out of our wedding business, she could go out and find a man or woman to marry herself. Poor soul, whoever that may be. I asked him what's next. She gets to name our baby since she lost her own. The look on his face made my stomach feel hollow. He told me, and I quote, "Actually, Kayla does have a few ideas for what we could name our daughter." Daughter? Side note, I had mentioned in the comment previously that we were waiting to be surprised about the gender of our baby. We were discussing baby names and had settled on the top 3 for each gender. We agreed to keep them to ourselves until the baby is born. I asked if he said daughter, and he looked like a deer caught in my headlights. He backtracked, but I pressed the issue. I asked him flat out if he knows the gender of our baby. He hesitated, but ultimately confessed to remembering I filled out an information release form at my first OB visit. So he called the office and asked them for the results of our gender scan, claiming that we changed our minds and he was going to do the reveal for me. I feel absolutely sick and violated. I asked him what the fuck was he thinking. He said that Kayla was feeling left out since Sam was planning my baby shower and not including her, and that she just couldn't wait to find out. I demanded he tell me everything. What else has he gone behind my back to do? Did he give her the idea to pretend to be our wedding planner? Was he the one that had to cancel my venue and change our catering? He tried to tell me no, of course not. She did that on her own. I could just tell that he was lying. He absolutely put her up to all of this. At that point, I didn't even care why he did. It's clear that none of our decisions will actually be ours. He will always do whatever the hell he wants to and get Kayla to back him up. I didn't even want to think about how many of our decisions in the past were completely undermined and changed by these two. I asked him if Kayla came to him and told him everything I'm telling him, that she doesn't feel supported by her partner, that her partner went behind her back to learn the gender of their baby without her, that her partner was retroactively changing every decision that they had agreed upon, that her partner was letting their sibling bully her relentlessly. What would he say to her? He didn't have a response, and honestly, if he did, I didn't want to hear it anymore. I knew the answer. I told him that as the woman who is supposed to be his wife, me and the baby I'm carrying should be his top priority, not his twin sister. I said him going behind my back like this for something as important as the gender of our baby is absolutely unforgivable. There is nothing that he can say or do to fix this now. I told him I will no longer be marrying him, but it's up to him if he wants to cancel all the vendors. I said you're more than welcome to use it all to marry Kayla, seeing as she's the one you obviously care the most about. He tried to backtrack and apologize and explain, but every time I just cut him off and told him that I had heard enough and my mind was made up. There is no going back now. If he wants to have even the slimmest chance to get me back and have a real relationship with our baby, he will need to attend some serious therapy and do a lot of work on himself and his relationship with Kayla. I told him no woman in her right mind would ever marry him while he was this enmeshed with her. I told him that any contact we have moving forward will be through my lawyer. I want nothing to do with his family, and if I get what I want, it will have nothing to do with my daughter because I'll be damned if I let him subject her to this treatment. I put my lawyer's name and phone number on the table and walked out. He didn't try to follow me. So now, on top of dealing with my lawyer for the custody case, do I have to file a complaint with my OB office? Are they allowed to just give him this information without my express consent? Or did me stupidly putting him on the information release form I signed give them blanket consent to share any and all information with him? God, I didn't think this could get any worse, but I guess that's on me for being naive. I'm glad I recorded the conversation though, and got him admitting to doing all of this. I don't know how or if it will help my custody case, but I sent it to my lawyer with a note that we can discuss more on Friday. I'm back at Sam's place now. She was already at work when I got back, but I texted her to wake me up when she gets home. I need my sister. I also called my mum and told her everything that's happened so far. She cried with me for a while and then asked me if I needed her to do anything. I asked her if she'd be willing to go to the house with Sam and get the rest of my stuff because I do not want to see Nate right now. Just picturing his face is making me feel sick. She said she is more than willing. Kayla did text me again. I'm assuming Nate talked to her after I left. It was a very long, cruel message that I don't want to repeat here. I can post a screenshot if anyone cares for the whole message, if I can figure out how to attach one. But to summarize, she just called me a delusional control freak who can't let Nate make any decisions for himself and insulted my venue choice once again. And then said she hopes my baby is stillborn because I don't deserve to be a mother. Honestly, after reading it, I thought the message would hurt, but it just gave me a really good laugh. I took a screenshot and sent it to my lawyer as well. And that's where we're at. The wedding is off. I will call the vendors tomorrow and see if we can get any deposits back. If not, I'll let them know to contact Nate and Kayla to see if they would like to keep things as planned. Let them throw a party for all I care, but I'll be cancelling my venue regardless of my refund. Neither of them are going to step foot in that sacred place if I can help it. I didn't realize how much I was letting this weigh on me until now. I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders, even though the new one is settling very quickly. Writing everything out like this is truly so freaking helpful for me to process how I'm feeling and what I need to do. I don't know if I'll keep doing formal updates, but for anyone who is interested, maybe I'll just treat this profile like a little journal as this all unfolds. Thank you again to everyone for all your advice and for showing me that I'm not crazy. And I'll just give you the comment from the top of this post that said, "Not the arsehole. I'm glad you're not going through with the wedding. Also very smart of you to record your conversation with Nate. Please follow your attorney's instructions. I hope you can move home with your mom or go live with your sister. Kayla is crazy and you need to put security cameras up for your protection. It might be better for you to move out of state to have primary and hopefully 100% custody of your daughter. Revoke the release of medical information, lock down your medical records with a password since Nate knows your date of birth and probably your social security number. I'm proud of you." And many people saying to move before the baby is born, etc. Hope you updated shortly after with a mental health update. There's more to come as well. It said, "Well, it's been a week since I posted my original problem, and now apparently I have over 1 million views and 2,000 comments combined over both posts. I know that's not a crazy amount, but this is the most I've ever gotten on anything I've posted on any social media profile that I have, so this feels crazy. I've gotten messages that my posts have made it to both YouTube and TikTok, and I listen to Reddit podcasts, so I knew there was a chance for my story to be taken and posted elsewhere. I just genuinely did not expect it to be. Not sure how I feel about this post about my life falling apart being the one to make the rounds on social media, but it is what it is. I know some people said they followed me to keep up with me if I decided to post anything more. I've been getting lots of advice not to post any details regarding plans that will affect my custody case, and I have no intention of that. But my therapist and lawyer agree that keeping a journal for processing my thoughts, plans, and emotions is a good idea. My therapist said that the sense of community I got from Reddit during my initial post could be really helpful as I navigate this journey in the next few months. So with that being said, if there's anyone that's interested in reading these random posts and mental health updates that probably don't make any sense, sorry, then feel free to come along with this journey with me. And if you want to share some kind words of support, then I'll truly appreciate it. After my post last week, Sam, my mum, and I got to work. I reached out to the therapist that I saw after my father passed and asked her if she had any openings. Luckily, she had a cancellation, so I was able to see her yesterday. She remembered me, so we spent some time catching up, then I gave her a brief rundown of everything that's been going on. She reminded me to make sure I'm eating and taking all my necessary vitamins. Thankfully, Sam has been a blessing when it comes to helping me make sure I'm taking care of myself. She told me it's easy to get wrapped up in all the things I've lost and the changes that are happening, so she gave me a notepad that she told me to use at the end of each day specifically for writing down something that I did that day that I'm proud of or excited for or something like that. She said it's to help my headspace stay positive and to keep me from dwelling on the negative. All in all, I'm doing okay. Well, as okay as anybody in my situation could be doing right now. I luckily have a massive support system that is just growing and growing each day. My mum has been coming over every day, and she always brings me one of those boba drinks from Starbucks when she comes. Is anyone else obsessed with them as I am, or is it just a pregnancy thing? Over the last week, I've been feeling like a giant weight is slowly being lifted off my shoulders, and even though a new one is settling down, it feels more manageable than the last one. I wanted to say another huge thank you to everybody who read my initial post and update. I truly don't think I would have had the strength to get through this last week if it wasn't for all the kindness and support that I was receiving from strangers on the internet. The advice I got was honestly next level and full of things I never would have thought of. Even though I didn't respond to everyone, I did try to read through every single comment on both of my posts. My update popped off a lot faster than the original, so I might have missed some there, but I've definitely read every comment on my original post. If you sent me messages but I didn't respond, please know I've read them. I've just been really overwhelmed, the good kind, I promise, with all the outreach that I'm receiving. It just really isn't possible for me to respond to every person. So just thank you again. To everyone that read about my troubles, to everyone that offered great advice, to everyone that didn't have advice but just offered support, to everyone that is just following along quietly. Thank you for just being here and helping me feel a little less alone right now. Opie comes in with a life update. Hey everyone, someone commented a couple of days ago and mentioned an update. I can't believe it's been 3 weeks since my last one already. Time really flies when you're getting shit done, I guess. My little girl will be here by the end of August. I don't know if I'm more excited or nervous and anxious, but I do know that I'm optimistic that things will go in my favor. We all have our ducks in a row. I couldn't have asked for everything to go more smoothly than it already has. It almost doesn't feel real. Almost like I'll wake up tomorrow and be back where I was a month ago, scrambling to make plans that I'm sure aren't going to pan out. And the future is looking brighter. Sam continues to be an absolute godsend with how much she has taken on to help me out. My mum too, although she has some of her own stuff to figure out, so she does what she can. I still can't give a lot of details about what's been going on, but I'm excited to tell you all this. We just had what was supposed to be my bachelorette weekend without giving too many details away. It was an absolute blast. All my friends and family showed up to help and support thanks to Sam and my mum coordinating everything. It was a mix of work and fun, but nobody would let me lift a finger for anything. We kind of did my baby shower on Friday. Everyone brought their gifts and we played a few silly baby-themed games. On Saturday, all of my girlfriends pitched in and booked me a full-service prenatal appointment at a spa. So while they all helped Sam do all the stressful stuff, I got a massage, facial, mani/pedi, and they washed my hair and massaged my scalp. I didn't even know one place could do all that. Saturday night, everyone surprised me with a gorgeous white maternity gown. All my girlfriends got dressed up in yellow dresses. We hadn't quite ordered the bridesmaids' dresses, luckily, and Sam put on the gold dress she would have worn to the wedding. We went to a nearby park and did a little maternity photo shoot. I have to say, I haven't felt more relaxed and beautiful since Christmas of last year, which was right before I found out I was pregnant. Honestly, I wanted to happy cry, but it would have ruined the makeup Sam did for me. Sunday night, everyone pitched in for a hotel room for Sam and I. We spent the night eating pizza and swimming at the pool. A few of my friends were posting their stories to Snapchat and Instagram, and I was worried that Kayla might somehow see and show up to ruin the end of the weekend, but there was no appearance from her. Actually, I've not spoken to her or Nate since my last update, but even though I haven't heard from her directly, I've been told that Kayla is still very vocal about me to anyone who will listen. Fortunately, Nate has mostly backed off. There is always a chance that he would change his mind and come to start more drama, but as of right now, I'm confident that he'll keep his distance. So that's where we're at as far as the information I can share. There is so much more that I know the internet will be dying to hear, but unfortunately, it probably can't happen for another couple of months. But I've been basically writing the update for the last month, so as soon as it's safe to post, I'll be sharing everything. I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's following along with me through this. I know it's absolutely unbelievably insane, but like I've said before, knowing I have this large community of strangers on the internet, on top of the huge group of people that showed up for me this weekend, makes this entire chapter of my life all that much more bearable. So thank you. My next update probably won't be until my sweet little girl finally makes her appearance. Hopefully that's sooner rather than later though, because my back is really killing me. So the next update was simply titled, Baby is Here. Hi, just wanted to pop in real quick and let you all know the baby is here. It's been about a week and we're home settling in. And my little one finally decided to make her appearance. It was a long, stressful labor that ended in a C-section to avoid the potential of further complications. But she made it. Healthy and strong, 6 pounds 9 ounces, 19.5 inches. You'll all be pleased to know that she was given my top choice of first and middle name, and she has my last name. All the legal paperwork is underway, but I still can't really give updates on that just yet. For those who may have reached out to me privately, I already know I'm very optimistic about how things will go. Hopefully I'll be back soon to give you all that update. It's sitting in my notes just waiting to be shared. Thank you all so much again for sticking with me. If you feel so inclined, I'd love to hear about something good that's happening for you right now. Share the good vibes. Then OP comes in with what was titled their final update, but it's not. It says, "Hey everyone. So I was originally going to post this in the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit, but it ended up being too long and I can't be bothered to trim this down for the 26,382nd time. So on my profile it goes. Also, I tried adding links and tags and stuff, but I don't use Reddit, so I don't know if I did this right. Sorry in advance. But everything is finally wrapped up, so I thought I'd come back and post a resolution. I did post a few other updates if you're interested in reading those, but those didn't have any details relevant to Nate or Kayla really. This is the one that has the juicy meat. As I said in my life update, I've been pretty much writing and editing this update for months, so hopefully it makes sense. I did my best to keep everything chronological. So after my original post, and once I decided to leave Nate for good, it became apparent that I needed to hightail it out of state. So many people had a lot of good advice for this, and I swear I couldn't have done it without you. Sam and I got to work pretty much immediately. I called my manager at work, who already had a very brief understanding of the situation, and asked who to talk to about options for relocating to a different office and taking leave until after my baby was born. Without going into too much detail, I was able to use up my benefits to still get 2 weeks of leave paid, and I was essentially approved for my maternity leave indefinitely. I basically just needed to contact my boss at the new office once my baby is born, and at that point we worked out my start date. Sam had just graduated this past May and was still looking for a job in her field, so she transitioned her search to the city that my new office is in, and had a lot more luck than she did locally. She found a job in her field rather quickly, and while it's not ideal, it's something for her to have now and gain relevant experience while she keeps looking for a dream job. My mum also moved with us. She got to work selling her house and is currently staying with Sam and I. She has an apartment lined up and will be moving out once I go back to work and can cover my portion of the bills again. The day after I cut things off with Nate, I called all of the vendors that I had paid deposits to. My venue, the caterer, and the DJ. The caterer and the venue were very understanding, seeing as they had been already dragged into this mess before. The venue had no problem returning my deposit because they already had someone that was interested in reserving the date. The woman I was talking to for the catering literally told me to hold on a second, and I heard her say something like, "I know we don't normally refund deposits, but can we do it for her?" And there was a little bit of back and forth that I didn't catch before a man came on the phone and informed me that I'll be receiving my deposit back in full and wished me the best in the future. I was at a loss, and while I felt incredibly honoured and grateful, I couldn't help but laugh when I hung up that time. The DJ only refunded me half of my deposit, but that was the cheapest deposit anyway, so I wasn't incredibly hurt by that loss. All the deposits were stated as non-refundable in our contract, so even though I'm giving over 6 months notice, they didn't have to give me anything back, so I was very grateful for what I was given. I used the money to help secure the lease for our new place, and the rest will just help pad my bank account until I'm back to work. Sam's also been helping me apply for all the support and aid that our new state offers for single mothers. While I was handling vendors, Sam was going online and changing my passwords and locking down everything. Bank accounts, credit cards, social media accounts, utility accounts, emails, everything I forgot to list here. All the works. And it was while she was doing that she discovered that Nate was still logged into his Apple account on my laptop. I knew his password, and he hadn't changed it yet. So she logged in and got to snooping while I continued changing passwords and doing stuff like transferring half of Nate and my shared funds into my personal bank account. Well, she found exactly what we needed to get Nate away from me and my baby for good. To make an already long story somewhat shorter, she found some text between Nate and Kayla that definitely hinted to a sexual relationship that happened when they were teenagers. Stuff like, "Remember when we used to do XYZ?" Or even stuff like, "I bet OP doesn't do ABC as good as I did." There's a lot more, but for my own sanity, I'm not going to be repeating it. It's unclear if this relationship is still going on now, but at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if it is. In fact, in hindsight, I highly suspect that it is. I couldn't stomach reading through everything, so I just had Sam screenshot everything she thought was important and held on to it so I could give it to the new lawyer I was planning on finding closer to our new city. Which leads me to finding a new lawyer. I contacted the lawyer Sam put me in touch with and explained that I planned on leaving the state. She had actually told me initially that it would help me with the case, and she was surprised and pleased to hear that I was following through with it. She told me that she didn't know anyone personally in my new city, but she asked around with a couple of her colleagues and gave me a few recommendations from them for lawyers in the new area I could try. The first one I reached out to never called me back, but the second one seems absolutely perfect. He was appalled by the situation when I gave him a quick rundown of the events, and if we hadn't already discussed his fees, I think he would have taken the case for free drama when I finally told him about the evidence of incest. So, after I checked work, cybersecurity, wedding deposits, and a new lawyer off my to-do list, Sam and I started apartment hunting. I I was terrified that we wouldn't be able to find anything as quickly as I needed, but Sam enlisted the help of all my friends, and I don't even know all the details of how, but one of my friends managed to find a 3-bedroom unit on the main level of an upper-lower duplex. It's owned by a private landlord who lives upstairs, but he is a truck driver and is literally gone all the time. He only charges enough rent to cover his expenses, not make a profit, and the apartment was just renovated, so it's real nice. It was a literal miracle. The weekend I posted about in my life update was the weekend we moved. Some of you guys might have guessed that based on the details I was absolutely leaving out. All my friends came over to help Sam and I pack and give me one last pampering before we left and baby arrived. We did the baby shower on Friday. I got to open all my gifts, but 2 of my friends took care of packaging and mailing the smaller items to our new place so that we could save room in the U-Haul. Saturday, I was sent away to be pampered while everyone packed up all of our stuff. Sunday night, we got to the hotel because Sam's apartment was literally empty, and Monday morning, we left for a new state. We spent 4 days unpacking and setting up our new home. I wrote that life update from the floor of baby girl's new nursery after putting together the crib my grandparents got for me, with tears in my eyes. When I say everything felt too good to be true, I truly mean it. I was so overwhelmed with peace sitting in a room that I had full control over. I didn't have to worry about what Nate thought about the sheets for the crib or the theme pictures I decided to put on the wall. There was no feeling of anxiety, wondering whose input I was getting. I was able to do whatever I wanted for my baby girl, and it was freeing. Nate had no idea I left the state about a week after I did so. At that point, I hadn't spoken to him since around a week after everything went down, which was just to tell him to take my number off his Walmart account. He said he did, and asked again if we could meet and talk, but I ignored him. He found out I left the state because I guess Kayla had been driving by Sam's apartment randomly. It's kind of on Kayla's way home from work, so it's not like she was going completely out of her way, but she would have to take about a 3-minute detour to get into the neighborhood. After she drove by twice and didn't see either mine or Sam's car, she reported it to Nate. He tried to come by Sam's apartment to figure out what was going on, only to be met with maintenance and cleaners preparing the unit for new renters. I guess one of the neighbors told him they saw us packing up the unit and called damn near everyone I knew before he somehow pieced together that I left the state, but still didn't know exactly where. He tried contacting me again at that point, but I ignored him just like I had been. He tried telling me I couldn't leave with his child, but I had to come back to work out custody. I had my lawyer reach out to him and inform him that custody would be handled in the baby's home state, which will now be XY. My lawyer also reminded him that any communication moving forward can be done through him. Nate didn't like that one bit, but my lawyer really didn't like Nate, so he just threatened him with some legal stuff I didn't fully understand and got him to back off. My lawyer had told me that even without moving out of state, evidence of Nate having a sexual relationship with his sister is enough to get any and all custody revoked by any sane judge because it could be used to argue that he's unwell in more than one capacity. Apparently incest is also a felony in some states, so I guess maybe if this got out in court, criminal charges could be brought up against them. I'm not entirely sure how that would all work, to be honest, but I don't really want that to happen. I just want Nate to stay away from me and my baby. After that, it was a fairly uneventful month. I was getting frequent checks with my new OB, who was informed of the situation. We put every precaution in place to make sure Nate and Kayla didn't come anywhere near my records, the OB office, or the hospital. I did make a baby post when she arrived, but for those who didn't read, I'll copy it here. When my little one finally decided to make her appearance, it was long and a stressful labor that ended in a C-section to avoid the potential for further complications. But she made it, healthy and strong, 6 pounds 9 ounces, 19.5 inches. You'll all be pleased to know that she was given my top choice of first and middle name, and she has my last name. The day after she was born, my lawyer sent Nate's new lawyer some paperwork that basically stated all the evidence we were prepared to present in court to support our case, that he'll be an unfit parent and request for his rights to custody be revoked. We then gave him the opportunity to avoid the nature of his relationship with Kayla come to light by voluntarily giving up his rights. My lawyer said if his lawyer is any good at his job, he will advise Nate to give up his rights and avoid court because there's no chance he'll win anything worth a scandal. Hell, his lawyer might even drop him so as to not be associated with the scandal. Obviously, I don't know what the conversation with Nate's lawyer looked like, but after a week or so, we received word that he would agree to terminate his rights. From there, Sam handled my lawyer for the most part while he did all the necessary paperwork and filings. The whole process from birth to hearing took about 6 weeks. When it came time to go to court this past week, Sam came with me for support and we left the baby with our mum. Nate came in person and had the audacity to bring Kayla with him. I genuinely don't know what was running through his mind when he made that decision, and I don't want to know. He tried to talk to me, but I ignored him with Sam's help. I didn't hear or see any of what they were talking about or doing, but Sam told me that Kayla kept giving me nasty, dirty looks while they were talking. So much so that at one point when a cop was walking me down the hall, he noticed her glaring at me and came over and just double-checked to make sure that our hearing was civil and that I was okay. I'm sure I looked visibly shaken also. I think he was heading to a different courtroom or something, but the fact that he noticed and stopped to talk to me says a lot. After that, Sam said she saw Kayla head to the bathroom. She did not come back before we went in for the hearing. Our hearing was held in private, so the sisters had to wait outside in the hall. Everything with the judge was fairly straightforward. He asked us both a few questions and confirmed with Nate that he was giving up his rights voluntarily. Nate kept looking at me like he was waiting for me to backtrack or say that I changed my mind and wanted him to be in my daughter's life. But I just stared at him with as little emotion as I could muster, even though I felt like I wanted to scream and cry and break something. He eventually confirmed that he wanted to give up his rights because he felt he needed to work on himself before he could take care of a child. I don't know how much of his speech he actually believed. It sounded very rehearsed. If I had to guess, I bet after the hearing he went home acting and feeling like the victim. I'm sure him and his entire family are painting me out to be some witch who stole his child straight out from under him. That's the feeling I got from both of them when I left without saying a word. I don't really care though. As someone has suggested, I changed my phone number after court. They have no way to contact me. Could they come stalk me here in my new city? Sure, I guess so. I don't get the feeling that they're going to do that. I really think I blindsided Nate with how quickly I went nuclear with this whole situation. I don't think he expected me to polish up my spine and hold my ground this firmly. He definitely didn't expect me to move out of state so quickly. Nate is a dumbass who fucked his twin sister and made all the wrong choices to ruin his own life. Sure, but he doesn't seem like the type of person to risk prison time. He knows he's fucked in more ways than one, and he knows that having the evidence that I have makes it easy to discredit him if he tries to come after me for anything. Nate seems more like the type of person that would just try to forget about this and find another, maybe more naive woman to manipulate, which honestly might concern me more than if he kept bothering me. So if anyone has any recommendations on what I could do to protect people from him in the future, while also not allowing him to continue to take up space in my life going forward, I'd love your ideas. But I fear I may have to wash my hands of this for my own mental health. I do have cameras and everything else set up in case Nate or Kayla do try anything. Also, one of my new co-workers' husbands is a police officer. I met her at an outing event that I was invited to meet my new colleagues before I started, and we really hit it off. I've already explained to her the situation. She told me that if I ever needed help with anything, to just let her know. And honestly, that's about it. I'll be starting back to work next week. My new office shares the building with a daycare center, so on the days that Sam or my mum are busy, I'll just bring my daughter with me and drop her off there while I'm working. My mum will be moving into her apartment in the coming weeks. The current plan is for Sam to live with me for a year or two, and then she wants to find her own place again. I'll keep this apartment that we have for as long as the landlord will have me, because I think it's just perfect for me while I get myself used to a new normal as a single mother. It kind of feels surreal now that everything is over. For the last 6 weeks I felt like there was something to do. A lawyer to respond to, a baby to feed or change, a password to change that I missed, paperwork to fill out for my new office. But after the hearing it was like everything settled. My friends are all coming out today to take me out and celebrate while my mum watches the little one. Even my new friend from work will join us. I'm really excited. And for the last 2 days it's just been peaceful overall, I think. Actually, seeing Nate again brought up a lot of feelings I hadn't actually processed since everything went down, which my therapist and I were kind of expecting, so we luckily already had a session booked for the day after the hearing. But we noticed my brain kind of shut down and disassociated from Nate right away. Whenever I thought about him and what he's done, I felt nothing but indifference. I never truly processed the disgust or the betrayal or the heartbreak. I immediately moved into protective mama bear mode and focused solely on my daughter. But seeing him and knowing it's finally over, it brought everything crashing back to me. The full weight of the sadness and betrayal really hit me. The fact that he had been likely manipulating and cheating on me for our entire relationship finally registered. And the fact that it was his own twin sister just adds to all of this. I will never know the full truth. Like if they really did fuck each other while they were together, or if they were just using me to have a baby like some people suggested. And I've learned to be okay with that. Most of all though, I'm just feeling so defeated. It's hard not to feel like an idiot for wasting 3 years of my life with this revolting waste of a person. It's also hard to not be disgusted with myself for ever loving him once. But rest assured, I'm actively seeking help with my therapist, so I know these feelings are temporary. It's just so hard right now. I know some of you will understand. But I just want to thank everyone who's reached out on the comments or privately to offer advice and support. And a special shout out and thanks to a user who has been a sounding board in my chats for the last few weeks. This whole community truly means the whole world to me, and I don't have the words to express what you've done for me. I know I would not have been able to get this far without the support of thousands of strangers, and I know that Nate wasn't expecting it either. I've never been one to put myself out there like this, but it was so much more worth it than I ever imagined. So thank you again. Thank you everyone. And to anyone who's just hopped on this train now, welcome aboard. I hope you enjoyed the ride. Feel free to stick around. And lastly, the state of the world is not ideal, so I'm always up for sharing positivity. I love reading about what's going on well for you guys too. It shouldn't just be all about me. So just like I did before, if you made it this far and feel so inclined, and share something happy, something that's going well for you. And I hope life is good, because you deserve it to be. So some months later, OP comes in again and says, so there's more. Hey everyone, long time no see. I hope everyone's 2026 is going well as it can be, all things considered. I genuinely thought my last post would be the last of it, but a lot of people have commented asking for another update, and honestly, a lot has happened, so here goes. Shortly after I posted my final update, I got logged out of this account somehow, and because I made a brand new email to create a throwaway account in the height of the crazy experiences of my life, I never saved the passwords for either. I thought they were automatically saved to my Apple passwords, but apparently not. Anyway, trying to get back in just wasn't a priority since I was starting back at work and heading into the holidays with a new baby, so I elected to just leave it alone. But Sam recently helped me log back in because there's actually quite a few things to share with you. So you can thank her for me being able to give you this update. I made a Google voice number and sent a few of the most damning screenshots to Nate and Kayla's mother, a cousin, and Nate's best friend, Adam. I did also manage to track down a number I had for their dad, but he lives across the country and hasn't really seen them since they were young. I've never actually met him in person, only video calls, so I wasn't even sure that he would care. But I added a simple message that said, "Hi, this is OP. I'm not sure what has been said about me, but I just want to be very clear that the explicit reason that I left Nate is due to his inappropriate relationship with his sister. I find this dynamic disgusting, and I've made the choice to not allow such influences around me or my daughter. I do miss you and wish you all the best." Adam texted me back almost immediately. Here's a copy of his text with names replaced. "Hi OP, thanks for reaching out. I hope you're doing okay. I'm really sorry for how things turned out, and it's really fucked up what Nate did. I grilled him about what happened when you left, and he finally told me everything. I haven't seen him since, and I don't plan to. If you ever need anything, let me know, but I understand if you don't. Good luck OP." OP says, I did send him back a message letting him know that I truly appreciate it, and told him I'd reach out if I needed anything. Nate's dad did reply with a simple, "Thank you for letting me know," but that was it. Nate's mother and cousin did not respond before I logged out of the account. Here is the aftermath as I have heard through the grapevine, as chronologically as possible. 1. Nate lost his job right around Thanksgiving. 2. Kayla got a new boyfriend also around Thanksgiving that she moved in with after 1 week. 3. Their stepmother made a crazy post on Facebook bashing their mother for how she raised her kids. 4. Their mother dyed her hair red. I genuinely don't know how this fits into the aftermath, but I just thought this was absolutely hilarious. 5. Nate was evicted from our house in January and moved in with Kayla and a new boyfriend. 6. Kayla announced early in March that she is pregnant. 7. Some people are telling me that based on her due date, my daughter's first birthday, are you fucking kidding me? This would likely happen right away when she met the new boyfriend, or, you know. 8. Kayla announced her pregnancy at their cousin's wedding. Same cousin I sent the screenshots to. 9. After the pregnancy announcement, the cousin posted 4 pictures on Facebook. 2 of the screenshots I sent her, a screenshot of my message explaining why I left, and a picture of Kayla announcing her pregnancy. She added the caption, "Can't wait to see how Kayla plans on ruining another cousin's wedding in June. She's already used a fair and pregnancy reveal. Time to get creative." Side note, I didn't know people really still air out their laundry on Facebook like this. 10. After seeing the Facebook post, Kayla's new boyfriend kicked them both out. He demanded a paternity test on the baby. Kayla refused and basically called him a piece of shit for not trusting her. Sounds like he's refusing any responsibility unless he has proof the baby is his, and rightfully so. 11. Nate and Kayla are back living with their mum for now. 12. Nate still does not have a job. 13. Their mother still has red hair. Honestly, I was worried that hearing about the drama and the aftermath from friends and mutuals would drain my energy. It's actually kind of refreshing and humorous to know that their lives are falling apart while I'm thriving. And I am. I settled into my position at work so easily. My co-workers were very welcoming and I even made friends with a couple of them. Sam watches my daughter on Friday nights so I can go out after work. Normally I meet up with some friends and we all go out for dinner or drinks, sometimes a karaoke or bingo night. Sam and I joined a book club that meets at the local library on Monday nights. I did reach out to Adam again around Christmas to wish him a happy holiday and new year. He gave me a rundown of what's been happening and we've kept in loose contact since. Mostly we just send each other posts on Instagram and catch up once or twice a week. We both enjoy Marvel and the MCU a lot, so we've been watching the new season of Daredevil together. Haven't seen the newest episode yet though, so no spoilers. Sam keeps teasing me and saying I should invite Adam up for a weekend. He casually mentioned always wanting to check out a cool museum type place that's near where I live now. She thinks that was his way of telling me he wants to visit me. Last I knew, Adam was seeing someone, but that was back last year when I left, so that could easily have changed. I'm not sure what to think, if I'm even interested in Adam or a relationship in general, the way Sam is implying. My baby is only 8 months old and I think I'm just going to focus on her for now. And she's doing amazing, hitting all of her milestones and just being an absolute angel. She was sleeping through the night already at around 3 months old and I'm told that's an absolute miracle. I could not have asked for a more beautiful child. And that's all I have for this rambling post right now. My lunch break at work is almost about wrapping up, so I need to post this and get back to work. But best believe I'll be back to let you know if I hear any more news about Nate and Kayla. Hope you're all doing well. Opie comes in again with a post that's titled, I'm back. Hello everyone. I genuinely did not think I'd be back so soon, but I knew I couldn't wait to share this news. You're not going to believe it. Kayla got the paternity test. Oh, feels like an episode of Jerry Springer here. For anyone that was willing to bet on Nate being the father, time to pay up. Nate is not the father. Unfortunately for her ex, I will call Brad from now on, since I'm sure he'll be a new reoccurring character in this saga. This means there will be a custody battle. From what Adam said, it sounds like Kayla's delusional ass wants to try for full custody. Can't wait to see how that plays out for her. We'll find out in August. Fortunately for baby Joffrey, I know Nate isn't the father, but I'm sticking with the nickname. This means they still have a chance at having one sane parent. Keyword there is chance, since I don't know much about Brad, seeing as he moved Kayla in within a week of meeting her. I have a feeling he's not the brightest bulb in the box. In other news, Adam has read all of your comments and subsequently mine, and has asked when he should plan to take off work and come visit. It's still a ways out, but I told him I like the idea of him planning to come for Memorial Day weekend. Sam has already told me that her and our mum will watch the baby for me. Actually, when she heard me tell Adam, that sounds like a plan, let me just make sure I have childcare covered. She grabbed my phone and told him she has childcare covered. Depending on how that visit goes, I've already hinted at planning for him to come out in August to celebrate little one's first birthday and see the new Spider-Man movie together. We are keeping things strictly casual. We're not dating nor exclusive. I told him I'm not even sure how I feel about him or how comfortable I would be with labels. I explicitly told him that if he meets a woman he may be interested in, he should absolutely pursue it. He said in no uncertain terms that I'm the only woman he's currently interested in, and he doesn't see that changing anytime soon. But also assured me that he's absolutely not trying to put any pressure on me, and it's perfectly fine if I decide to just keep him as a piece of my support system. You guys, I feel like a giddy teenager again. That's pretty much all I have for an update. This feels like a weird stopping point, but I'm still a little tipsy from drinks with my co-workers and I don't want to ramble on. So have a good weekend, besties. Edit. I just realized I didn't mention that Kayla apparently went to get the test done about 2 weeks ago, but did not tell anyone until she got the results yesterday. Shortly after this, Opie added a post about a friend's situation, which isn't really too relevant to what we're covering here, so we're going to skip that one for now. But Opie came in with a Memorial Day update and says, hello everyone. Lots of people were invested in the Adam situation, and he did say he's okay with me telling the internet anything I want to. So I'm back for the highly anticipated Memorial Day update. Adam did come to visit for Memorial Day weekend. He got into town late Saturday morning and we met up for brunch at my favourite diner. It was a little awkward at first, seeing him in person again, but things got comfortable really quickly. We started by talking about work. He works as a property manager and oversees a big apartment complex back in my hometown. Over the last couple of months, Adam's been telling me about how the complex got sold to new owners and he's very upset about it. He called them slumlords for the first day he met them, and at brunch he was saying he's either going to quit or be fired soon because he refuses to lower the quality of living and take advantage of the tenants in the building just because these new people are greedy. Because he also lives in the building he manages, that means he'll also probably have to move soon. We talked about my work for a bit too. I already had told him over the phone about some of the issues that I was having with one of the clients that I acquired when I moved. but my new team is just as supportive as my last team, and I only have to work with this particular client for another month anyway. A couple of my work friends will probably be at my daughter's birthday party in August, and they already can't wait to meet Adam. After brunch, we went to see a movie. There's Sheep Detectives for those who care. Before we went to go check into his hotel, I went to my mum's to check on and feed my daughter and drop off some bottles. Sam was there too, teasing me about how there was no need for him to get a hotel. I joked that I only had him get it so I could use the pool. We met back up at my apartment afterwards. We made some lasagna for dinner and ate while we watched the new Punisher special. No spoilers, but he did hold me while I cried a whole lot. He made us some ice cream sundaes afterwards, and then he went back to his hotel for the night. Sunday around lunchtime he came to my apartment and walked to a nearby park where a few local bands were playing for the afternoon. There were food and beer trucks set up and we just hung out there all afternoon. We went for dinner at a restaurant nearby before he walked me home. We were both a bit tipsy after having drinks throughout the day, and when he asked if he could kiss me before I went inside and he went back to the hotel, I told him yes. Monday morning we met for breakfast at a place next to his hotel. Things were a little awkward at first while we both figured out how to bring up the conversation of where we stand. Without going into too much detail, we've decided to keep things where they are. We'll continue to talk and watch shows together. We discussed plans for him to come back in August to celebrate my daughter's first birthday, and we'll just see where things go from there. He did kiss me again before he left for home. All in all, it was an amazing weekend. I don't really have any more news on Nate and Kayla. I guess the whole family finally blocked Adam on everything, so he no longer has any relevant information. Not that we wanted to spend any time talking about the twins anyway, but if I hear anything through the grapevine, I'll make sure to update you all. For anyone that's read this far, how was your Memorial Day weekend? I'd love to hear about how everyone celebrated, or maybe chose not to. And this brings us up to OP's latest update, which was titled, I'm horrible with titles, but here's another update. Hi everyone, just want to pop in and give a brief update on things all around. I've learned some new information regarding Brad and the whole Joffrey situation. I genuinely don't know what to think, so I've elected to just not. But as selfish and convoluted as it may be, I love sharing all of this here and seeing the reactions that everyone has, so without further ado. Baby Joffrey is a boy, so the nickname will be staying regardless of the paternity. It sounds like Brad is kind of a real estate guru in my hometown. He and his father own multiple rental properties and run their own property management business. It sounds like the current plan for baby Joffrey is as follows. Brad is going to renovate a triplex that they own. He's going to move into and occupy one unit. Kayla is going to move into and occupy a second unit. The third unit is going to be used for the baby. He'll figure out a custody schedule. Whenever Brad has time with the baby, he will stay in the third unit. Whenever Kayla has her time, she will stay with the baby. It sounds like the only caveat is that Nate is not allowed on the property. All of this information I'm getting basically through a game of telephone, so take it all with a grain of salt. I do trust the sources though. I had a few recent comments on my Memorial Day post, so I wanted to update on the Adam situation. As someone speculated, he did end up quitting his job. After a lot of discussion and him basically insisting on my approval, he did end up applying for jobs in my new city. He got the news today that he was hired by a real estate company in my city that is developing a new luxury apartment community. He'd be moving into one of their units and starting his position come July 7th. He came to town to take a tour of the community today, and we met up for dinner, and he officially asked me to be his girlfriend. Of course I said yes. He paid for a hotel and he invited me to spend the night with him. We swam in the pool since we didn't get a chance the last time. He's sleeping right next to me as I write this. I can't sleep. I feel drunk and high at the same time. Is this normal? I just want to take this moment to say if anyone has any questions about anything, feel free to ask. After hearing a couple of different people read this story back and comment on it, I realized I might not have done the greatest job at explaining everything. But I'm only human. Unless something crazy happens, I probably won't update again until after my daughter's first birthday in August. At that point, Kayla should have had her baby, so I'll definitely have an update. I hope everyone is doing well. I know summer can be crazy and hectic and going on the internet isn't always fun, but when I'm on here, I do tend to enjoy myself. So thank you to everyone in my community for making this a beautiful place to be. So people were questioning who the baby actually was and the paternity test and all this kind of thing, and Opie replied saying, "Hi, thank you for your comment. As far as I can tell, the DNA test that was done was legit, and Brad really is the father of Kayla's baby. I'm genuinely very curious to see how it will pan out. I don't have a full plan for how I'm going to explain everything to my daughter just yet. I'm workshopping things with my therapist, but we'll keep everything as age appropriate for her as I can. She's bound to have questions as she grows up. If I were to end up with Adam, it will be obvious that he is not her biological father. I want to be honest with my daughter above all else. People were questioning if Adam can actually be trusted. Opie says, "Hi, thank you. At this point in my life, I don't know that anyone can definitely be trusted anymore. But he has not had any direct communication with the family since it all went down, and he no longer is even connected with them on social media, so he can't get updates that way anymore. I've learned throughout this entire thing to trust my instincts, and my instincts are telling me that Adam can be trusted, at least for right now. He is an only child as far as I can tell. His relationship with his parents is also of the utmost health. As of yesterday, it actually sounds like Nate did find out about Adam's trip here for Memorial Day weekend. I'm not entirely sure how the news got back to him, but it sounds like it was brought up by someone at 4th of July gathering he was at, and he did not take it well at all. He did not try to reach out to me at all, but he did use his friend's phone to leave some pretty drunk messages for Adam at the end of the night. I'll probably have to share a full update on that soon, but I want to wait and see if it goes off the rails even more first. But bloody hell, what an absolute saga, and what a time OP has been through, and the way that they've dealt with it at the same time. Finding all that information about the twins and how it all started out to begin with, that seems like an eternity ago. I was just reading that. And OP had to live through that, had to deal with everything that went on. And yes, she sounds like she had a fantastic support system around her, and thank goodness for that. And I'm just sort of glad that OP's on the outside of it now, looking in, and can almost laugh in some ways about the chaos that is going on over there, because it is still wild. It is still an absolute train wreck. And of course, I feel sorry for the baby being brought into this situation at the same time. That's an innocent child, isn't it? But the twins in this just sound seriously messed up. But a line that stood out to me towards the end there is OP not being able to, "Can you fully trust anyone anymore?" kind of thing, which is really sad. I know it's true, you never can fully trust anyone, I guess, but off the back of what OP's been through and the way that she's been betrayed like this, it's just absolutely brutal. But I do wish OP all the best going forward with her relationship. It seems like she's taking it slow right now, which is absolutely the right thing to be doing, right? Especially after everything that she's been through. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Whew, that was a saga indeed, but just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. Truly, it's absolutely amazing. Thank you. And thank you for sharing as well over on our own subreddit. It's always nice for the community to share the updates as well that I've been missing. Thank you. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Much love.